What a difference 24 hours can make. Well, we saw a 6.5% pump yesterday on the thought of a Coinbase listing amongst other bullish sentiments with Lunar Classic. However, we have seen a slight retracement, 2.5% back. Why? Well, it looks like Coinbase is all a rumor and not actually fact. We're going to dive into a little bit of that in this video, in particularly where we need to go to source our information, and equally we're going to be taking a look at the 10-to-1 split ratio. Is it the right thing, or is it just another proposal that we don't need to bother with? All that and more in this video, so stay tuned because it's about to get exciting. So taking a look at the current price, we saw on the daily chart here this nice move up yesterday. We went all the way from the 14.7 range, topping out around 16.5, but then we have seen a pullback on today. Now, a lot of people speculated about the Coinbase listing, but no one could actually prove it. We have to be careful with things like this because people could ape into projects. We saw this with a number of DeFi projects where they announced a listing on a big exchange, never happened. Ultimately, what do people do? They sell. So buy the rumor, sell the news. Exactly that. And I think that's what we're seeing now. The challenge or the anticipation is, where do we level back out? So you can see I've got a couple of support lines drawn on the chart right now. We'd be hoping to level out around this 15.2. I wouldn't want to go much lower than that. Equally, it would be nice to kind of push back up towards that 16s. Well, how do we know that it's not going to happen? Well, ultimately with Coinbase, if you've been around a while and equally you understand and see where Coinbase lists it, everything comes through the Coinbase Assets Twitter page as well as their blog. It is the only place you will see announcements for listings and reopening of trading pairs on here. Nowhere else. Doesn't matter if it's coming from a project, doesn't matter if it's coming from anything. The only place you will see it is on this Coinbase support Twitter page, and it goes through a number of different things. You can see there, look, BTC auction USD will go live at 4 p.m. ET and close approximately 4:15. The auction can be accessed via Coinbase Exchange APIs. And again, you'll see this for a number of different coins and different projects. You can see there the new self-service asset recovery tool, and then you can see the assets added to the roadmap today, Axela ALX. Now, if you remember, we are opening an IBC channel through ALXL, so it could be a link back into Coinbase. We're not saying that it's out of the realms of possibility, but I think at the minute, unfortunately, the 245 million proposed Coinbase purchase does seem like a fabrication. Now, I don't think we'll ever be able to truly verify that unless Coinbase comes out, but I think the fact they haven't probably tells us that it is not happening today. Now, importantly though, and I wanted to reference this, when you come over to Coinbase Exchange, there are 350 tradable pairs right now over on Coinbase in their spot markets, as well as perpetual and the futures market. When you look at some of these, take for example Chainlink linked with Ethereum with a 12k volume. You think Lunar Classic on any of these would have significantly more volume than a lot of these. So the question then leads itself to believe, is it worth Coinbase listing it or not? And ultimately that is probably where we get to it. Do I think they're going to get it eventually? Absolutely. I think Coinbase can't hold off. I do think they will absolutely list the coin, reopening it like we talked about. They do have a big wrapped ETH bag that they need to do something with, but I definitely think it could be on the cards. Originally, the article broke here over on coingape.com where it talks about this, but it was all pure speculations. Now, if you've watched my videos, you've been in my live streams, I've never been in a world where I expected this to happen because I always thought that Coinbase would announce it because for them, it's a huge, momentous moment. I think a massive amount of volume would come. We'd see a big rally in terms of the price. So I think I kind of knew all along that I didn't expect us to list on Coinbase. That being said, like I said, I do think we will eventually see that come back over. I think it's a matter of time as opposed to an if. And I think that's really important to reference. The other thing I want to talk about is this, the reverse split LUNC 10-to-1. Now, for those of you that don't know what a reverse split is, ultimately they do it in the stock market. It's to make something either seem more appealing or like it's better value. And I think that's exactly what they're trying to do with this one, where ultimately we see this reverse split. And ultimately, what is it trying to do? It's going to remove the 10-to-1 ratio. It takes us from a 6.9 trillion supply down to 690 billion. Now, you might be thinking, well, hold on a minute, my bag would be ginormous. No, that's not the case. Your own supply and your own holdings would also go through the same process. In essence, very much a V2 process that would happen in this. And I think that's the important thing. Now, does $1 seem more appealing than 3 zeros 1 5? I'm not sure. I think in terms of maybe what it used to be like, the old days, if you like, as such, of Lunar Classic, then maybe. But I think for me, it becomes more appealing when we talk about simplifying the build capability of Terra Lunar Classic, making life easier for developers to come and build on it, and ultimately really delivering on that layer 1 protocol. So I think they're the things we need to work on. They're the things that fundamentally sit in my mind, as opposed to, well, we'll just turn the 6.9 trillion into 690 billion. The actual mechanism that sits behind that would be pretty hard work given the number of wallets. And we can obviously check, we are at 5.31 million wallets with Lunar Classic holding. It's a pretty strong number to try and convert all of those over on a 10-to-1 ratio. A couple of bits, the community pool starting to build with that 10% remit back into there. Obviously, as Zaradar and the team work through that, and our staking ratio is actually down a little bit at 12.5. But everyone is watching the price. It does seem like we are trying to move up. We're going to mint into a new day here in the UK in not too long, so we'll see how that goes. But it does look like a red day, but it's not as red as we maybe anticipated. That's going to do it for this video. Like I said, Coinbase doesn't look like it's going to happen, but if you want to see Coinbase list Lunar Classic, well, you know what to do. Hit the like button. Makes no difference, but it does support the channel and ultimately gets the word out about Lunar Classic. Also, subscribe to the channel to keep up to date with everything going on in the crypto markets. As ever, thank you so much for watching. You stay fair. I'll see you soon. Take care.